Welcome to The Whole Pineapple. I'm Ruby Boris.
And I'm Ann Judge. The Whole Pineapple is a podcast about wellness focused around fertility. And on these weekly mini episodes, we bring you bite-sized ideas for you to snack on.
Like breathing exercises, book reviews. Maybe we'll review some scientific research, or we'll share some wellness and fertility stories from our listeners.
So if you're looking for a tip or a trick related to your fertility and well-being, then you've come to the right place.
Let's dig in.
Well, we are so happy to welcome back to The Whole Pineapple our good friend, Jamie Mammenga, who is here to share another mindful moment with us. And this one is a little bit more broad, not as tailored to the fertility journey. But if you listen to our main episode and our snack episode with Jasmine, when we're talking about heavy topics, health disparities, uncertainty in terms of reproductive options when it comes to the recent Supreme Court decision, we all just kind of felt like, how do you hold yourself together when the world can feel so overwhelming with things that aren't at all under your control? And so we thought, maybe Jamie can help us. Maybe Jamie has it all together. So Jamie, welcome back. And I was thinking about you and anyone that's in kind of more of a counseling type field, like how tough that has to be, because I'm sure everyone wants to talk to you about their stress and anxiety, and I'm sure you're dealing with your own too.
Yeah, which is, I think why I'm a strong believer in counseling and like having my own counselor, which is always, I think that's been a challenge for people too recently, even myself, is finding a counselor. It's something that I, have in my life on and off, sort of as like a check engine light, and just always trying to have that support available at different times. And
right now, everybody's car is broken at the same time. So no one can take it in.
Right. So it's really hard to find somebody right now. And even for me, there are a lot of people who are, feeling stressed. And I think that it's been this culmination of stressors, micro and macro, right, that have been happening since the beginning of COVID.
You talk about like life events, right? And everything that's just been happening in the world. And then I think you also, if you start to think too much about larger scale issues like climate change, you just can feel so in this spiral. And I feel like sometimes people who are challenged with infertility, sometimes I feel like it's almost easier to try and ignore that stress by focusing on some of these bigger other things instead. Feels like, well, let me worry about something else for a change. But then it can feel even more overwhelming and even less something you can control than fertility is. So I know you don't have answers, but I know you always have really good tips. And so, what other things do you do as kind of self-care to hold yourself together when there's so many external things that can be pulling you in different places?
Well, I think I talked about this I think it was like our very first time talking together, that very first episode. And I always like to do a gratitude practice, because there are so many negative things that are out there right now in our face all the time, in the news, it's just sort of everywhere, bombarding us on all sides. And so I think it's really helpful to have a mindfulness practice that is also sort of in my face. So when I'm feeling really overwhelmed, I like to, the way I do my mindfulness practice is I like to have a pad of sticky notes that lives by my toothbrush when I'm brushing my teeth in the morning and again at night. I take that time to be really present. And I try to think about like, what are 1 to 3 things that I'm, feeling thankful for in my life in general in the morning. And then at night, doing it again. What are 1 to 3 things that I'm thankful for from that day? Because even in the hardest days, there's always things that helped us get through or brought us a spot of sunshine or lightness or brightness somewhere, something that we can be thankful for and have gratitude for. So, and then I put those on my bathroom wall or my mirror, because I like to just be able to see, or even a private space. I've done it in my office, where I have just a private space where I can see this sort of building, all of these things that are going really well in my life and that are helping me navigate the hard things.
I love that. I've never heard of the sticky notes. I've tried to do like gratitude journaling before, like having a notebook by my bed. I tried using one of the apps where you're supposed to like jot. And the problem is I'm so tired. When I'm going to bed, it feels like one more thing I have to do to like sit down and make a note. And so then I feel even guiltier about not doing it. I like the idea because I do have those couple minutes that I do always brush my teeth no matter how tired I am. So I should be able to during that time, like reflect. That's such a good idea.
And it's something you can do, if you have a partner in the home, you guys can do it together, and it just gives a really nice moment. Because usually when you're brushing your teeth, you're not very present. You're usually kind of 10 steps ahead in your day or just, half asleep or whatever it is. But it's a really nice moment to be truly present and intentional that is, already time set aside. right?
I mean, I have my Sonicare, so I have my timer. So it'll beep at me every 30 seconds. So that'll be like, okay, beep. Now think of something different.
Yeah.
So awesome. See, Jamie, I knew you would have some answers for me. You are my like Pinterest vision board. You have all these things together.
No pressure.
And I know you talked before about how important nature is for you. Is that kind of one of your other go-tos when you need to feel more centered?
Yeah, absolutely. I do not feel centered when I don't get, I've talked about it before, my weekly tree bath. I need opportunities to step out into nature and breathe that fresh air. And, it's really important for my mental health. And so I need to put it in as frequently as possible. But certainly once a week, that I'm making that a huge priority, because when we're stressed, those are the things that we cut out, right? The things that tend to, help us feel better, like maybe it's exercise, or maybe it's quality time with our partner. We're like, I don't have time for a date. I've got too much on my plate. I can't go do that right now. But if those are the things that help you feel peaceful and centered or connected, or that's cushion for all the other stressors that we have in our life on a daily basis. And so it's really important that those become the things that you cannot and will not miss. I've talked about juggling glass balls and plastic balls. In times of high stress, it's those self-care things, whatever those are for you, whatever makes you feel peaceful and centered, those become the glass balls. Those are the ones that you do not drop. You can let some other things go. Maybe it's the dishes that you let go. Maybe it's, a load of laundry or something that you get a little behind on, or whatever it is in your life, but making sure that you make time for those self-care pieces.
And I think another thing that was useful for me starting kind of early pandemic was I went ahead and used the features that I've already been using for my kids, but for myself of putting on app limits, because you can feel like you don't have time. And then you realize how much of a time suck you spend, whether it's social media or for me, just browsing different news websites. You get so drawn into things that as you're reading them, they make you feel more worried and you read more. And so setting that time limit, even though because I'm a grown up, I can override it. I can be like, I do want 15 more minutes, but it makes you aware of how quickly you've spent that time. Whether you said, I only want to spend 15 minutes a day, or I want to spend an hour a day. And so when I see how quickly I use that, I can't lie to myself and say I don't have time to go for a walk. It's like if I have 15 minutes to have already maxed out my Facebook time, then I definitely have time to have gone for a walk outside instead.
Yeah. And actually, I really limit in times of high stress, I really limit social media, and I set very specific limits on where and when I can get my news. If it's big news, you're going to hear about it.
Yeah.
So maybe, just kind of limiting how many news sources you're looking at to one or two trusted sources, and then just when specifically in the day you allow yourself to look at that. And I would really avoid before bed. That's not, helpful to have your brain stewing on those things. But absolutely, I love those time limits. I spend way too much time on screens, and you become very aware of that.
And I turned off my breaking news alerts too. I feel like something really huge, other people are going to tell me, and it was too much there's just constant breaking news. It was distracting, always pulling me out of the mindset of what I was doing. So yeah, that made a big difference too, to feel like I was a little more in control of when I was going to absorb the world.
And then I also, I'm a reader. I like to read. Sometimes it's something that I feel like I don't have time for as well. And so I like to put in a good book that is not serious. So I have my handy books that are kind of like, a genre that really is just, allows you to kind of be taken away to, it's just that they're not heavy at all. And they're a nice distraction that's also feels good for my brain and helps me fall asleep and, things like that, instead of like watching a movie or being on a screen in some way. That helps too.
Perfect. That's true. It's like a vacation for your brain. Even if you can't go on a real vacation, you could take yourself somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. I just can't tolerate anything heavy or really highly emotional when I feel like there's a lot of other stressors. I need something that's really light and kind of fluffy, kind of sink into.
And I've had to tell my partner that too, because we are behind on all these major shows that we didn't watch. Game of Thrones, we didn't watch Breaking Bad, and he keeps wanting to get into it. I'm just like, I can't watch a show that's going to be hard for me right now. I feel like I don't want it to be super violent. I don't want it to make me feel just even sadder about the world. I was like, I'm a little bit tapped out of that. So I'm letting him watch things by himself. I think he's finally accepted I'm not going to watch them right now, and that's okay.
Watch it later and talk about it later.
Yeah, that's right. When the world is better. So
yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you in a decade. So anything else you want to pass on?
I think just really being mindful of how you're spending your time and just really making sure you are fitting in things that make you feel good. because there's just so many things out there right now that are weighing really heavily on people. And so whatever your self-care looks like, make sure I know that's kind of a buzzword that's out there right now, but it means different things for everybody, and making sure that you're really putting those things in strategically into your days and your weeks.
Yeah, I was thinking about your balls analogy the other day. I was like, what if you feel like you just have too many glass balls? I'm happy to juggle 5 things, and it's really hard to keep all of them up. And sometimes you feel like there's nothing you can let drop. And I think that's part of what's so scary sometimes. But maybe it's realizing that something that looks glass really is not. It's just a high quality plastic.
Yeah. And I mean, there really are some things that like maybe it wouldn't be easy or comfortable to drop it.
Mm-hmm.
But if we can let that go, if we can allow ourselves to do that and know that if we put in some of that self-care, we're going to have more available to us to then attend to those glass balls again, right? Because if we don't put in that self-care, then you're just constantly in this mode of depletion. I kind of liken it to being like a leaky bucket. There's nothing filling my bucket up, but it's always leaking, and things are, being taken out of it as my energy is being put in other places that are also meaningful and important. But I have to fill it up, or I've got nothing to give.
I guess it's also like thinking about, is this the ball that if I drop it is really going to shatter, or is it going to bounce? Like, can I pick it back up with minimal disruption later? Because there are some things that are crucial, and then there are other things that, as much as we'd like to keep doing them, we probably can get by.
Right. Maybe even for a week or a day, right? You can let it go for a minute. And also maybe who can help you? Like engaging in your other resources. If you're really that overwhelmed, are there other people that can kind of step in and help take some of the load off of you? It's hard to ask for help, but it's important. We didn't used to be on our own. That's not how we were designed as a species. We were designed as a species to be in community with others, which is COVID's made that really difficult in various ways. But I think that really relying on our resources and not looking at that as a sign of weakness, but really a sign of strength, that we are able to recognize when things are a little bit too much for us and reach out for the support and help in those important relationships in our lives, because those people, they want to help us and support us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they want to know that we're there for them as well.
Totally. I mean, I think all of us have been in that situation where it made us feel good to have been able to help somebody out. And so, don't see yourself as being a burden. Like, the people that love you want to be able to feel like they've done something helpful, and that makes them feel a little less stressed too. So,
and it makes them feel like they can reach out to you. We were designed to be in community. So it's important to be able to ask for help when we need it.
Well, thank you, Jamie. I'm excited to go quiet and look forward to you guiding us through meditation.
Well, as we just talked about, this practice is designed to help you through high amounts of stress. When we're presented with situations in our lives that are very high stress, it seems pretty impossible at times to get past the stressful feelings so that you can see clearly. And the best way to tackle high stress situations is actually through full and conscious breathing. When we're not present in our bodies, our thoughts can carry us away, making stressful situations feel almost debilitating. But luckily, when we have awareness to focus on our breath and body, we can bring ourselves back into the present moment, bringing us clarity. Your breathing truly is your window of control. So let's take a minute and honor our breath now and how it brings us into the present moment by taking 5 significant and purposeful breaths. I encourage you to pause this podcast if you have the ability to do that, and really take time to sit with your breathing for just a few moments. Breathing in deeply, fully inhaling, allowing your belly and chest to expand as much as you can, and holding it for a moment before exhaling again. Breathing out as long as possible, feeling a wave of relaxation sweep over you. Inhale again, filling your entire breathing system with fresh oxygen. Hold it at the top and exhale, the wave of relaxation gently sweeping over you. Inhale, so that you are brimming with air. Hold it, soaking in oxygen, and exhale, feeling your body relax in different areas without effort. Fully inhale, feeling these breaths purifying your entire body, and exhaling. Just notice how you are feeling. Let's take another deep breath. A beautiful breath coming in, and hold it, feeling invigorated from oxygen. And exhale, allowing relaxation to sweep over you. Now let's take note of how you feel in this moment. You now have an abundance of oxygen flowing through your system. This is how we were created to feel. Breathing deeply and fully is an expression of self-compassion. Let the flow of your breath become natural, and notice how abundance feels. Now visualize yourself standing in a big field, and no one else is around. Everything is calm and peaceful. You feel safe, and you're surrounded by nature. I invite you to sit down in this meadow and look around, noticing the beauty all around you, feeling fully relaxed. In the distance, you see dark clouds closing in as the sky grows a little darker. You see that a small storm is forming, and you begin to feel raindrops falling down. Imagine that this storm is your stress. It could be a mild stress with just some rain and a little wind, or it could be a very high stress with extremely strong winds and a very heavy rain pouring down. In this visual, we're going to face a very strong and powerful storm to make ourselves stronger within. So as you feel the storm getting even stronger and the wind is blowing harder and harder, you sit there in the meadow, completely unfazed by it. This storm cannot hurt you here. You have a choice to react to this storm with fear or with love and compassion, knowing that this storm is harmless in this visualization you are creating. Stress is our reaction to fear and worry and even high demands. And whether the fear is real or not, we have to learn the proper reaction to all things. Sometimes you can't help it, and stress will take over in a matter of seconds. We have all been there. And we can learn how to handle it differently so that it doesn't handle us. Just like sitting through the storm in the field, stress cannot harm you if you know that it simply passes you by. What matters is your own reaction to the events around you. I invite you to really embrace this stress now and fully let it exist without fighting it. You see this storm of stress in front of you, and it is very dark as the storm clouds get thicker, raining down with fury. And you decide to get up from where you are sitting and slowly start walking towards it. Without fear, without worry, just pure confidence that you are safe and in control. You get closer and closer as the storm draws near, and the wind blows with tremendous speed and power. The winds and rains have no effect on you. It is really easy for you to step forward, and only your clothes are impacted, flopping around. As you look forward, you see the eye of the storm. And around that eye, the winds and the rain are extremely powerful and strong. Yet you have zero worry as you step inside this eye. And you are standing now inside this center where everything is calm and peaceful. You look around from within the eye of the storm and you can see all the chaos around you. But inside here, it's calm and cozy. This is your space. This is your safe spot. And so when stress has fully taken you over, you have a choice to let it blow without a fight, just sitting right in the middle of it, realizing that it cannot hurt you here. I invite you to witness your body as the center, and any stress is just a storm surrounding you that comes and goes. No emotion, whether it's happiness, sadness, anxiety, stress, anger, no emotion stays forever. They always shift and change, come and go. And you are in control and can always come back to your safe space. And now you see that the storm is beginning to lose its power. It's dying down now slowly. The rain is easing. And now it's only a little drizzle. You see the clouds drifting away as the sky gets brighter. The sunlight peeks through the clouds as they pass by. And then eventually, the sun bursts out with great intensity, shining a beautiful, warm light all around you. You notice the birds coming out and beginning to sing, and you see butterflies and bees buzzing around the flowers that are blossoming now after heavy rains. Everything is beautiful now. This moment represents you being in a beautiful state of mind where stress has no control over you as it passes by. And now I invite you to take 3 nice big deep breaths in, slowly bringing yourself back into the present moment. Breathing in, nice full breath of fresh energy. Exhaling, breathing, taking in all that you learned here today. And taking in another helpful breath, allowing the memory of your strength through the storm to be present in your mind right now. Feel free to use this session or technique whenever you find yourself in a high stress situation, and you will be amazed at how you can ride out the storm of stress. Namaste.